On a windy day, there's nothing better than being in the shed, and today I want to talk about potatoes, but not necessarily the growing of them, but the making of a chitting station. Now, I've got all my potatoes in the shed and they're just lounged all over the place, so if I can have them in a nice area where they're all together, then so much the better. Give me more space for other things later in the season. So today, in this video, I am making a chitting station. The major advantage of creating a chitting station is that the potatoes can all stay in one place, and then when you come to fleece them on a frosty night, you just need to put the fleece over the entire seed station and your potatoes are protected. So I'm just going to put, well, I was going to say two. I could get away with just one, I think, but just to be on the safe side then, because there is going to be an awful lot of weight attached to the top of these trays. Unfortunately, the bit on my tray has slightly broken off. These are just some old pieces that I found as I walked around the garden. And the major advantage of these is that if you didn't have a lot of the wooden seed trays, you could dismantle them at the end of the year. So there's two. Put some in the other corners. How do you protect your potatoes when they're chitting? I have heard of people who have put them into the fridge. Just don't make it too cold in the fridge for them, because they're likely to get a bit soft. But that's how the farmers do it. They would put their chits into the freezer, into the fridge, I mean. There we go. It's quite nice to have things in the shed all nice and tidy, because it then gives you more space to do other things. Right, let me get another screw from my screw box. So there we have it, that's the first one done. And just to show you how well they work, I'll get the other potatoes. Just pop them on top. I don't bother to screw the top one to the bottom, I just leave it like that, and I think that looks gorgeous, doesn't it? And then if you've got 2 or 3 of them together, you can then think to yourself, oh, it's a frosty night tonight, I need to go and look after my spuds. And you can come along with your piece of fleece, and I need to cut mine so that it perfectly sits around it. Then you can just cover it like so, and then everything is contained in the same area rather than having it, like I said, sprawled all over the place. So I'm going to get on and do another one, because I have 4 potatoes to do, and you could put another little shelf on top, and maybe I'll do that. But first of all, let's have a cup of tea. So nothing scientific, just put in the wood up to a new piece and cutting it off. I'm aware that my saw is rather old. I've had this saw man and boy, as they say, and it still cuts, still does the job. So there we have it. I'll just put my onions on top. I'm not going to put them up against the wall like that, because there's a chance of frost still getting them. So I like to pull them away from the windows and from the wall just slightly. Also, it aids for the air to go around them as well. So there we have it, the finished product: a potato chitting station and storage place for the shallots and the onions, which are up the top there. So whenever there's a chance of frost, I'll come down, throw a bit of fleece on top of it. But on a really warm day, I will come and take the fleece off, because they can start sweating if they get a bit too warm. So how do you chit your potatoes? Tell me in the comments below. I'll also put in the description a link to where you can get the seed trays from. Just before I fleece them up, I think they look rather grand and they're quite secure. So I'm going to put some fleece on for this evening, because it is forecast. So I'm just going to make sure it is covering the back. That's where the danger zone is at the back, because the frost it's surprising how the frost will get through the wood. And also on the side here, make sure that it's nice and covered. Now, the reason why I've put onions at the top is because if I put potatoes at the top, I wouldn't want the potato to be touching the fleece like that, because that can still get touched by frost. You could, if you wanted to, build some more little raised platforms so that the fleece just sits on top. But for the onions are well within the seed tray. And then that's very easy to take off when I come back down. Look at that, dressed up like a new bride. Well, I think that looks really beautiful. Well, I quite enjoyed that, and that is the whole ethos of the Dig for Victory campaign, is make, do and mend. So a few little scraps of wood, some seed trays, and we've got a potato chitting station already set up for the year ahead, and very easy to pull down and use next year as well. Well, time's going on now, and I'm going to pop home for my Sunday lunch and a nice cup of tea. So I will catch up with you next time. So from me until then, bye for now. It's very windy out. I think I'm going to get blown home. I'll put this on outside. See you next time.